The Seiko Tuna, one of the most iconic dive watches and Seikos ever created. A result of 7 years of development, as an answer to a complaint letter sent to Seiko by a saturation diver whose watch crystals kept popping out due to helium gas expanding during decompression. A problem most brands, Rolex and Omega included, solved by incorporating an additional valve to release the excess pressure, creating yet another fail point where water could get through if something went wrong. Seiko took another route, developing a monoblock case with a special L-shaped gasket for the crystal that prevented the helium to get into the watch in the first place. This eliminated not only one but 2 possible failure points, the valve itself and also the traditional caseback used by 99% of watches on the market. The innovation didn't stop there, as the use of titanium for the case increased corrosion resistance, and the protective shroud that gives the Tuna its unique look was used to protect the watch itself from bumps and reduce the possibility of accidentally moving the bezel. A total of 20 patents were filed when the Tuna was introduced, making it the most specialized and purpose-built diver ever, with only the Omega PloProf being similar in the approach. While Rolex simply took an existing model and beefed it up, Omega and Seiko took a clean sheet and developed their own versions of what a perfect purpose-built dive watch should be. Due to being designed solely for diving, both look like nothing else on the market, and both became icons for that exact reason. In 2015, to celebrate 50 years since the release of their first dive watch, this was released, the SBDX014, also called Rose Gold Emperor Tuna, for its distinguished rose gold accents on the bezel, crown, and hands, making it better looking than even the original gold tuna, which was my grail up until that point. The main reason I liked this one more was the rose gold text and markers that are much less in your face than the standard white text found on other tunas. It made it more serious looking in a way and more elegant, if that word could even be associated with a tuna. Another thing that made this one stand out was the new style of hands and markers that were introduced a year before, marking the first serious change in the tuna lineup in 40 years. The new handset and markers were not accepted by everyone, as it was quite the departure from the traditional ones, but I was one of the people that welcomed the change and always said it is more in the spirit of what a tuna is supposed to be, as they increased legibility by clearly separating the hours from the minutes and incorporating what is probably the best lume ever put on a watch. The placement of the black date wheel at 4:30 also made the dial perfectly symmetrical, something I always love, and it also kind of disappears to not affect legibility, but is there when you need it. Having a full-sized 3 o'clock marker makes it look better than other tunas, especially in the dark. Seiko is considered the king of lume and is always a step above the competition. The Tuna, on the other hand, is yet another step above other Seiko divers, making it the ultimate lume monster. This thing can almost be used as a flashlight. That's how potent and long-lasting the lume is. I've had 4 tunas so far, the pretend Solar Tuna, the 300-meter one, and the 1,000-meter quartz tuna, and now finally the daddy of them all, the automatic Emperor Tuna. Each one is a step larger than the previous one I bought, as I have a smallish wrist at 6.7 inches, and by default thought the smallest one is the only one that I'll be able to pull off. With each one I bought, I realized they were much smaller than the specs would suggest, and I could try a bigger one. That is how I dared to go for this one. Before I bought the 49mm Darth Tuna, I never would have thought possible to wear this, but now I can confirm it actually works well on my wrist. It is a large watch with 52.5mm diameter, but being round, it is also the total length of the watch, which surprisingly is shorter than the Omega Speedmaster on the old bracelet that goes to 54. The actual lug-to-lug, where the strap begins, is even shorter at an incredibly small 42mm, which explains why this is the only Seiko diver where their extra long diver strap doesn't stick out when worn on my smallish wrist. Even the thickness is deceiving. Although a tall watch that measures 17.5, it actually wears like a 15mm one, as the concave caseback, which adds those 2.5, sinks into your wrist. Despite that, it is still massive, and don't think for a second it will clear any cuffs. This is best worn with a short-sleeved t-shirt during summer. Being a flagship of their professional dive line, everything on this thing feels high quality. Their crown is very easy to grip, has better engagement than even my Submariner, and is one of the sturdiest crowns in the open position I ever tried. The bezel is on par with the Submariner with easy-to-grip teeth, precise and even softer flicks than the Sub, and it's not only the best Seiko I tried, but one of the best bezel actions in general. Despite being made out of titanium, due to the mechanical movement and the very large ceramic shroud, the watch has quite a lot of heft, which is a good thing, as some titanium watches can give you a false feeling of low quality due to their lack of mass. With this one, you don't have that problem. The movement used, 8L35, is an undecorated and unregulated Grand Seiko 9S movement that is hand-assembled. It is amazing and a step up from regular Seiko Prospex line, but I wish Seiko regulated it beyond the claimed -10 to +15 seconds a day, as the quality of the rest of the watch deserves it. My example is gaining about 5 seconds per day, which is excellent, but it is not guaranteed with every watch, and a watch made in such a serious way should have better accuracy specs. But that honestly is the only complaint I have about this watch, as everything else is executed almost to perfection. The Tuna lineup is a no-compromise tool diver that shows what Seiko is capable of when they try their best, and the Emperor is on top of that lineup. This rose gold one with these hands and dial is my favorite, and only the fear of it being too big was stopping me from getting it sooner. Luckily, I can pull it off, and it has made me truly happy. So if a Tuna has grown on you, don't be scared of the deceiving measurements, and make sure to try one on before you dismiss it as too big. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found it useful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and until the next video, bye.